Hello. Come with me as I explore the Purisima Mission. California would not be what it is today if it weren't for the 21 Spanish missions that were first started by Fray Junipero Serra under the orders of King Charles III, who wanted to expand Spanish territory. Junipero Serra was a friar and wanted to share the Catholic religion with people who were unfamiliar with it. In 1749, he traveled from Spain to New Spain, now known as Mexico, to become a missionary. 20 years later, he founded the first mission in what is now San Diego. He continued to add 8 more missions before he died in 1784. After Serra died, Fray Ferdinand Francisco de Lasún was chosen to continue the mission chain. In 1787, he named the 11th mission La Purisima Concepción de María Santísima. Life at the mission was successful for 25 years until the massive earthquake of 1812 struck and destroyed it. As a result, the mission was moved 4 miles north and was rebuilt on new land. By 1830, as a result of weathering and thieves, the mission was declared a ruin. However, in 1934, the mission was restored for us to visit and learn about today, which is what I did over my spring break. La Purisima is located about 140 miles north of Los Angeles in Lompoc, California. To get there, we drove the historic El Camino Real highway, the same road the missionaries traveled to get to the mission, except theirs was a dirt road. Here I am, about to cross the bridge into the 1800s, and about to give you motion sickness.
Oh, look at the poison oak right there.
There's poison oak on this bridge. Leaves a 3, let it be. Maybe not always. This land today looks much like it did back in the 1800s. When the Spanish missionaries looked for land to build a mission on, they were looking for fresh water, fertile soil, lots of land for many animals, lots of wood, and a large Indian population. I can see why they chose this place. Most missions are built in a quadrangular shape. However, La Purisima, as you can see, was built in a straight line. When you first walk into the mission, one of the first things you notice are the animals. The mission depended on animals like these for food, hides, wool, milk, transportation, work, and tallow, which is animal fat used to make things like soap. If only I could capture the smell.
Oh, frickin'.
I wonder what this guy's doing on Thanksgiving. This is a garden like one at the original mission. They used it to grow things like food and medicine. It included figs, grapevines, pears, roses, and other things. Here are some of the fountains. Water was very important to the mission because it was needed to irrigate crops and provide for the people and animals. At La Purisima, much of the water comes from the Santa Ynez River. Priests designed sophisticated irrigation systems at the missions, but the building of the aqueducts and reservoirs was done by the mission Indians. After we looked at the grounds of the mission, we walked down a long corridor and explored the rooms. All along the corridor, there are large pillars. 9 of them are the original pillars. Here is one of them. They were built of adobe and bricks. Whoever built the still standing pillars all hired to build my house. Oh, wait. They're dead. This was the priest's private chapel. In 1834, after an underground spring destroyed the main church, this chapel then was used for the church services. This is the old songbook used in church services. It's over 500 years old. It's pretty old. Here is a guest bedroom. It It is much nicer than the friars' rooms. The Spanish friars did not believe in many luxuries, so their rooms had little furniture and their mattresses were stuffed with straw.
That bed does not look very comfortable.
These were the soldier barracks. They held 5 to 7 soldiers. Above their beds, weapons like rawhide shields and swords are hung. The soldiers kept order throughout the mission, protected mission life, and punished those who broke the rules. Many Indians complained about the soldiers mistreating them. Cowhides were very important to the mission. They had many uses and were the leading item of trade. In this room, the hide was scraped and spread out to dry. Then they were soaked in water and salt and then dried some more on racks.
Here are the racks they used to dry their cow hides.
Here is the tannery. The leather from the cowhide was used to make many things like saddles, bridles, ropes, boots, and strips that were used instead of nails. Poor cow. Here is the sewing and weaving room. Inside is a large loom made by a craftsman from San Diego named Antonio Domingo Henry. He taught the Spanish workers how to straighten pieces of sheep wool using a seed pod, like this one. Then the yarn was woven into the cloth on wooden looms to be used for blankets and clothing. This is the kitchen. Back then, you would probably find Native American women making tortillas or pozole, which is a kind of Spanish stew. This is kind of making me a little hungry. This is the olive press. The olives were crushed and turned into olive oil. Olive oil was also an important item of trade.
What's this? That means I stumbled upon Chumash huts.
In this part of the mission, we found a Chumash village. These structures were called huts and were built of tule reeds, which are a grass-like herb. This was the traditional housing of the Chumash. This hut appears to be a sweat house. They put rocks in the ground, heated them, which made the huts hot, and then would sit in the huts and scrape the sweat off themselves, so that while they were hunting, the animals wouldn't smell them. This hut looks more like one they would have slept in. This is a lavanderia, or wash basin. The water was used to water crops and take baths. All it needs is a diving board. Are you still with me? We're almost done here. Finally, we went to the cemetery, which is on the other side of this wall. This is the bell tower. At 6 a.m. every morning, the bells are rung to remind everybody that it was time to go to church. Here is a close-up of one of the mission bells, which is now in the Mission Museum. See that cross over there? It marks the spot of the first cemetery. Hundreds of Indians and Spanish people are buried here.
Like a red ant.
Overall, my trip to the La Purisima Mission was interesting because I got to see how people lived some 200 years ago and how far we've come. I enjoyed my trip to the La Purisima Mission and would go there again.
Okay, back to the El Camino Real for me. I hope you enjoyed the tour of the La Purisima Mission.